Hello there, fans of the Quest for Quality Content podcast. And today, we have a very musical episode. With me, your host Nunican, and my very special co-host, Jimmy. Take it away, Jim.
Yo, bitch! I'll be here. I don't know if you can sit. This is where I'm at. Always. I will be at the piano. Bugging you guys with poorly played notes.
Well, where do we want to start, Jim?
Well,
I want to hear about how you started playing music, because I don't know much about your how you got into it from the start. So I'd like to hear a little bit about that.
you want to know my lore?
Yeah,
you want to know my
need
backstory?
the
Is that
Jimmy
it?
lore. Yeah.
Yeah.
The John Fogg
The
lore.
Jimmy lore is rich. Yeah. Well, you know what? I could tell you about my backstory and how I got into music. I could tell you, or maybe instead I could sing it to you. See, when I was about 8 years old, I bought myself a guitar. That's not true. That's not how. This is too hard. That's it. I quit music forever. I'm not doing any more music.
I was curious
You
to
don't
see
get
if
to
you're
hear
gonna
my
commit
lyrics.
to doing a
I'm
musical
done.
episode. We got to do that someday. That would be amazing.
You don't pay me enough to do that. You don't pay me at all.
Yeah,
That's not true. You do pay me.
I pay you for
have
some
in the
things.
past. Yeah.
But hey,
Well,
it's
we
not
should
my
do that.
channel.
I think it'd
It's
be
our
really
channel.
funny. That's true.
I don't gotta pay you just to be on here. It's your
You mean you
channel,
don't pay me
goddammit.
for nothing? That's the American dream, baby. Maybe I will try and do it. Maybe this is gonna be the time. Maybe the magic will come.
Give me the Jimmy backstory song.
Alright, well, when I was a little kid, my mom gave piano lessons. And she'd always ask me, hey, do you want to take piano lessons? Because, like, I'm your mom, and I won't even charge you. And you're, like, 4 years old, and this is the perfect opportunity to get good at something while you're young. And I said, no thanks, I don't want to do that. And so, many years later, I was like, I had like keyboards and shit growing up. Like, they were just like, there was always like a piano or something in the house. And I would just like fuck around on that, make little things, like try and play the Mario Bros.
Oh, hell yeah.
Over and over again.
That is part of my musical journey as well. I would want to play a ton of video game songs on my bass guitar. So I'd learn a ton of them by ear, because at that time there wasn't a lot of tutorials for them. Now there's a shit ton of tutorials for them.
Yeah, I will say the resources for like learning music on your own are way fucking better. And it's like I got some of that because I was like at the right age, so it's like, you know, Ultimate Guitar was a thing that I frequently did, and like YouTube videos. But yeah, anyway, I started out playing drums actually. For some reason or another, I was like at a music store and I was like, man, maybe I kind of want to take drum lessons. That would be fun. And my dad encouraged it. He was like super helpful and shit. And yeah, I took drum lessons, and then after like a few months of that, there was another guy at the place where I took lessons, who taught guitar, and he was like, "Hey, you know, why not that too? Isn't that sick? Guitar's fun." And I was like, "Yeah, I like guitar. I want to play guitar." And yeah, then I got a guitar and I started playing, and it was super fun. And then I quit drum lessons, and then eventually, after a few more years, I quit guitar lessons, and then I just started recording shit in my bedroom. I had like a few like I think I was in a band once,
Nice.
maybe, and it didn't really go anywhere. We didn't write any songs, but it was like a shitty high school band. Uh, yeah, and then I did nothing for a long time. That's pretty much it.
And we're here today, and we're making music every once in a while, anyhow. Um, so yeah, no, it's interesting to see hear about the evolution of the Jimmy's musical talents. Um, if you want to hear a little bit about my story, I'll chip in a little bit here.
Let
Um,
me hear it. Let me hear it.
well, you see, when I was young, my great grandmother, she used to be in a band when she was in her like 20s, I think, and they actually got pretty close to making it, I think, in some kind of musical scene, but something something I think went wrong to where they weren't able to, where they made a different decision. And they're like, well, this isn't worth it. But anyways, she was always into like piano and bass guitar. Those were her two instruments. Um, but then when I was little, she was trying to teach me a little bit of piano and a little bit of bass guitar. I forget which one it was first that I was learning. I think it was piano first, and then I was like, I I'm bored of learning this now because I was a dumb kid, and I was like, I want to play bass guitar, so I got a bass guitar, and I tried to learn that. And then eventually I was like, this is boring. I want to learn guitar. So I got like an actual guitar eventually. Or more more accurately, I would borrow my brother's guitar because he also um, he played guitar because he was learning from her as well and from books.
Oh,
So that was like the origins of kind of where I got any musical anything. A lot of it after that was like I really didn't work very well going through like the music books and like um, really memorizing how notes are written and everything. I mean, I know it's not that complicated, but I learned it and then I would just forget it, and it was just like it didn't feel like the right way to play music. And then I was like, but I have all these other songs I wanted to play, mostly like video game music. So um, that's where like most of my experience of music comes from, is just like hearing songs and then trying to note by note match with them
yeah.
until I find where they are on the instrument. So a lot of like learning things by ear, and that kind of became a big hobby of mine, was just like trying to learn as many songs that I like as possible by ear. And then in
I, I
oh yeah, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think that's like a lot of people's experience though, especially like with technology there comes like more kind of room for like you just figure it out for yourself, and it's still hard as hell, but it's like playing by ear and being able to like have a reference right beside you, and even just like the ability to like listen to a song, like or like a part of a song over and over at the touch of a finger. It's cool. It's definitely helpful.
Yeah, and I think it's lucky because like some people are tone deaf to where like they couldn't learn the song by doing that very well, because the thing that makes learning things by ear such an addicting way to learn is like it's very immediate feedback if you have a decent ear for like what note is what, you know? So like if you hear a note and then you hear the note that you're playing, you can immediately tell, oh, that's the wrong note or that's the right note. So that's like kind of built into that is like the I think the like the scientific best way to learn is to do something that you can immediately tell if it's right or wrong and immediately make a different choice until you're consistently doing it right. So, um, kind of lucky that I ended up having at least a decent ear uh, for pitch, you know. But yeah, that's been really fun. And then around high school and stuff, I kind of dropped off like actually doing many instruments or anything. But I was like starting to get into um, like a little bit of producing and stuff. There was a um, there's a few like online apps and stuff that I'd get on my school Chromebook because I didn't really have anything else. Um, there was Soundtrap, that was one of them, which was just like a um, I mean, it's actually surprisingly capable for an online program, like an in-browser program. But
Oh, it
I
was
mean,
in
it's
browser.
fairly simple. What?
It was in browser. That's cool.
Yeah, it was in browser. Because that's all you can do on the Chromebook, really, is stuff that
Yeah.
runs through Chrome. So I made some songs with that, some more like electronic ones, and then some kinds of like emo uh, rap stuff at the beginning. A lot of those, I don't think any of that is really public. There was some instrumentals that are public, like I think on SoundCloud there's still Paper Ambition, which is just like a fun little project that had a couple songs. And then I through that time I was doing some YouTube as well, and through YouTube I was doing more music, partially like making background music for videos, and then eventually doing like a couple actual songs. A couple of those I took down. I really am embarrassed by them. Some of my friends are like, "Why'd you take that down, man?" And I'm like, "Dude, some of the lyrics of those are just painful to listen to now."
Yeah, but it was a different time. It's like a
Yeah.
time capsule of like a state that you were in at a certain point in time. A horribly embarrassing state that you were in.
Yeah, that's being a teenager for you. Um, so yeah, there was a bit of that, a bit of like messing around with kind of writing rap songs and stuff like that, and producing rap songs. And then I think around like senior year, I started working on Input Entropy, um, and I kept working on that through like the year after senior year of high school, and that released at that point. And I think that was 2020 or 2021, one of those. And yeah, ever since I've been kind of off and on making music. Uh, I definitely feel like I've gotten a little bit better at writing over time. I'm a lot happier with a lot of the writing and Input Entropy in comparison to anything before that. I think it's leaps and bounds better than the other stuff. Um, and I'm working on some more stuff now. Keep keep a lookout for around Halloween.
Oh yeah, we teased this last time too. You
Did we?
guys are gonna be so fucking hyped. We're overhyping it. We're overhyping it now.
Yeah,
But now we have to
just
release.
watch. It's not going to come out in time. Who knows? Like
I don't
next
jinx it,
year. Next
no.
year.
Yeah.
Isn't that the opposite of jinxing it? Because like if you hype it up and you say it's definitely coming out, that feels more like jinxing it to me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like there's no way this isn't
Fair
going to
enough.
come out on time. That's just tempting fate at that point. Knowing me, and even just knowing us for our first couple projects here that we've done together, deadlines are kind of bad for us. At least so far, we got to find a more healthy way to create some level of a forward progress without like completely getting stressed out and procrastinating and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, man. We'll get there. I think it's
Yeah,
fine. We'll
it's
be
a
alright.
process.
Yeah, it's a process. I wanted to ask you a question. Uh, is there like, was there an artist or was there an album that you listened, and that was the fucking thing that made you decide like, okay, I'm gonna record something or I'm gonna try and make.
Hmm, that's a good question. I don't know if I remember like one specific album that I was like, oh, I gotta make something now. I definitely had. Um, hmm. I think uh, early high school in like eighth grade and stuff, I was listening to like a lot of Eminem and stuff, and I don't know, very like cliche. Um, and I mean, for someone like getting into rap music, I mean, I'd listen to not just Eminem. I would listen to a lot of like gangster rap too back then. Um, it was very funny, especially knowing my personality as well.
Yeah.
Um, it's it's like that scene from Office Space where that like nerdy dude's like driving to work and he's just blasting like NWA or whatever.
Yeah.
um,
No, actually, I think it was like, who was it? Who does "Damn It Feels Good"?
oh, Ice Cube.
Is it that Ice Cube?
Is it Cube?
It's the Ghetto Boys.
Jamie, pull that up.
Man, we just lost like all of our cred. That was embarrassing.
I never had any street cred, my friend.
Yeah, Sam. Fuck.
At this rate, uh, yeah, my credit score is dropping by the second. Um, my street cred score. But anyways,
Also, your credit score. I've seen the way you fucking Mastercard, man. Embarrassing.
yeah. What about you? Did you have like a specific album or anything or artist that you were like?
I mean, when I was like playing in bands and shit, or like trying to like do live stuff in high school, uh, I just wanted to be Kurt Cobain so fucking bad.
Mm.
Uh, but then after that, I think recording music kind of coincided with like getting like Mac DeMarco and getting into like just like bedroom pop in general. And I'm trying to think of the other shit I was that's just like various like jangle pop kind of lo-fi
Sure.
stuff. I was like dabbling in punk. I really like Joy Division. Um, and like funny enough, of course, because watching YouTube at that age, at that time, 2014, like Filthy Frank was a thing, and Filthy Frank was making like pink guy shit, and I was like, man,
Yeah.
this is a thing. You could just put out like weird movie music and also dumbass online, and I
Yeah.
think to like a much like a lesser extent, um, I think I tried to do that, and I was doing Channel 9 production stuff, and I think I was like in grade 10 or 11 when I put out um, my first record, my only record really that's like been publicly released. I put out Microphone, and it's on Bandcamp still to this day. And I think
Nice.
for a while it was on like Spotify and shit. Like once I was in university, I finally got around to like I had a friend who had DistroKid. He put
Sure.
me on there for a while, so that was cool to like stream my own shit on like streaming platform. Like, oh neat.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a cool
but like
feeling.
yeah, yeah. So like yeah, a friend of mine gave me the idea for the name John Fogg. She wrote a song um, with this guy John Fogg, uh, who was like I don't know character in the song, and I liked it. And I asked her if I could use it. She said yes, and so that was like the name. And I hate it. I don't like the name very much anymore. I still like the memory. Like I think it works in the song, but I don't like. I'm not sure how I feel about it as like a persona. Anytime someone like calls like you know John, and it doesn't happen frequently. It's like I'm not doing anything, but it's like a friend or something. It's like, oh,
Sure.
when's the next John Fogg song coming out? It's like
Like
who
I
the
did
fuck is
earlier
that
in this
guy? I don't know.
podcast.
Like I don't want. Yeah. It's weird. It's a weird thing. But like I think what I've been doing recently with like Burke Springfield and Fox Fielder and like Criswell and all of these like pseudonyms or whatever, um, it's kind of like my way of trying to circumvent that feeling of trying to like run away from it, but also fully embrace it. You know, it's weird. It's a weird fucking feeling to need to like consistently make up face to make behind, and I don't know. It's weird. I don't think I've written anything really genuine in a while.
Mm.
Certainly not like I did in high school, and I think that's a really big, like almost a hurdle. But it's like it's weird to live up to that. It's weird to be like, oh man, I can look at I can technically do so much more music with my stuff, just like with the years of recording knowledge that I kind of have, and it's again not very extensive. It's like I'm still an amateur, but I've learned more than I did in high school, and
Definitely.
I still like, look back on that old music, and I'm like, man, I wish I could make something to this standard again.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, I've definitely liked your recent stuff, if that's any consolation. But I think
Oh yeah, thank you.
not that I feel like you're fishing for that or anything. Uh, but
No.
yeah, I think
Tell me more. What's your favorite?
yeah, right.
What's your favorite song? Tell me
The one
what do you
that
like
I'm
more?
in.
Do you like Brooke Springfield more?
The one that I'm in.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I really like that part. I don't know why. Just really like the part that I was in it.
Yeah, everything after 2.5 minutes and somebody else is
Right.
my favorite.
Everyone go stream somebody else. Good song, good video.
Actually, I need to re-upload that. That's one thing about somebody else. I fucking fixed it, man. The vocals are weird and like off key in that
Oh,
one.
really?
And I've since fixed it. But I did it after I posted the video like a fucking idiot, and so now I think I'm gonna get rid of it and upload the new version with the same video. I know it's dicey with the remasters and shit. Like I don't want to be like George Lucas, but whatever.
All right, might as well. Yeah. What else? What else can we talk about? The music related. Oh, I think we can do some like musical recommendations. Just like talk about music we like for a little bit, and then we can get back into more specifically projects that we put out. I think it'd be cool later to talk about specifically like lyrics and stuff. But yeah, let's first kind of rattle off some of our favorite bands and artists that we've been enjoying for the span of our lives. Maybe not all of them we still enjoy as much now, but uh, I'll let you go first if you got some.
Oh,
You don't have to. It doesn't have to be too extensive,
all right.
but just
Well, yeah, I think growing up like in a small town, just like being like a weirdo, fucking, you know, kid with like odd parents, it's like the natural thing to go to is like classic rock and like metal. When you're like a kid, uh, like that to me is like the nerdy guy's way to like express himself at a very young age. Like that's usually the first entry into music. And I think it's because like heavy metal and shit is so silly, but also like it's trying to give this feeling of like empowerment or like being badass and shit.
sure.
And so it's like it's appealing. It's appealing to hear a guy be like, "I'm so tough and strong, and also I kill the dragon,
Yeah.
and there's flying cars and shit." And it's my first like band that I was fucking like into was Rush. I really, really like Rush, and I still like Rush to this day.
Got your All Rush mixtape?
It's ridiculous. I've got my All Rush mixtape, a 2-liter bottle of Shasta, no date. That was me. That was me.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely
you.
Rush and like prog rock in general is a big thing. And that was like the first genre that I was in that last like all the way up into like early high school. What about you? What's like what got you into music?
So I feel like early days, like, there would be music in the house a lot, just kind of playing, because my parents and my brother really like listening to music. A lot of it was some rock, some, I guess some more poppy stuff as well. Uh, no, like, metal. I don't think any of us were really, like, into metal, so I never really had an in for that. And to this day, I haven't really been able to get into metal, just because, like, I feel like there's some things that I just missed the train on, you know? And, like, I think I'm also... It's difficult for me to listen to things that are very, like, abrasive. Like, just with how, like, intense they are. I think, something to do with what's going on in the old noggin here, but certain kinds of loud noises really are like physically painful for me. Um, so you know, I avoid some of that, but I did listen to a bit of rock, a little like classic rock and stuff. I never really thought it was like my favorite, but there was definitely a lot of it playing. Uh, there was a little bit of country. I think my brother played too much country, and then I got super sick of it, and I never wanted to hear country music again. Um, so
Yeah.
so
What kind of
these
country
days
are
I
we
can't
talking?
really.
Is this like modern kind of pop country, or are we talking like old like fucking Willie Nelson and shit?
I think it was like a mixture. There was a decent variety. I still like a lot of like more folky country stuff, you know? Like
Yeah.
I don't have anything wrong with that. I just I feel like anytime I start hearing like a mandolin, I'm like, it could be cool, but I think in my brain I'm already expecting it to be not good. Even I don't give it a fair shake, and I feel bad for that. Because there's
Well,
nothing
you
wrong
heard it
with a
here first,
mandolin.
folks. Nudie hates country music. Nudie hates people who listen to country music.
And I
I think
hate
he
our
said, yeah,
country.
yeah, yeah. You hate my country also, just
Our
by
countries, both
extension.
of them, yeah.
Wow. Well, there you
I
go.
hate countries.
Just in general, I hate
Yeah.
countries.
Because they make music that I don't like.
do, do it by the goddamn continent. That's how it should have been from the start. Just a big mass.
Yep. So, yeah, bring back Pangea.
Hashtag bring back Pangea 2024.
But yeah, when I started getting into music myself, it was very uh, embarrassing because I was like, when I was a kid, like I spent a lot of time on YouTube and stuff. I know, shocker. Um, but I would listen to like a lot of video game music, but a lot of it wasn't like good video game music. A lot of it was like uh, remixes done, like dubstep remixes and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, that's fucking awesome.
And I was like, for a time, I was super into like dubstep and stuff like that. I don't know where that, uh, how that pocket happened, but there's like a couple year span where like dubstep was like the shit, and then after that is like I never want to hear dubstep again. I think I think my brain works like that sometimes. The same thing with country music. You know what I mean?
I
Um,
get it. Yeah, it makes sense. Burn yourself out on a thing after a while. But also, it's a cultural thing because like dubstep just in like society at large is like huge, and everyone loved it, and then they just didn't.
yeah,
Like it became a very
we
niche
just got over it.
subcategory of like, yeah, yeah.
Um, but I don't think it was just a thing of it not being cool anymore, because it was never cool in my family. And, like, I was always like hiding the fact that I was listening to dubstep music. It's like,
your dad bursts in the room and he's just like, "No son of mine's gonna be listening to no beep boops and wub wubs. You listen to goddamn honest to God country music and nothing else."
I
That's how
also
you
very I also very specifically remember downloading on this off-brand iPod that my dad bought in bulk to try and sell from China. Um, but we didn't sell enough of them, so he gave us some. But anyways, I specifically remember I downloaded a Kirby Falcon Punch remix of Green Greens, which was literally just using like the Kirby Falcon Punch sound effect from Smash Bros. And just turning it into like a whole song. And I unironically really enjoyed that. So that's my confession, my musical confession.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'll confess something too. Even before I got into classic rock, when I was like in grade school, me and my buddy Seb, who's also a part of Channel 9 Productions, I think both of us really, really liked professional wrestling
Sure.
and like WWE specifically. And I still do, but like back then I didn't know it was fake. And I just like it was like Santa Claus, like even though people were like, "Oh, it's not real. What are you stupid?" I was like, "No, it is real. You just have to believe. A child's whimsical heart will make it magical and real to them." And it was embarrassing, but yeah, my parents had this like big fucking stereo, and my buddy Seb had made me a CD of WWE theme songs, like of the wrestlers, and so I'd just be like in the basement, like blasting the fucking like Hulk Hogan theme song really loud. Just like standing next to the speakers and being like, "I am a real American." And just, it was the stupidest fucking thing. And at one point, I asked my like mom or my sister or something, like, "Man, I kind of want an iPod. Do you think can I get an iPod at something maybe for Christmas?" Like, and then one of them asked me like, "What would you put on it?" And I remember answering like, wrestling theme songs
Right.
and also video game theme songs. I would listen to the Mario soundtrack. I would listen to
Nice.
Dire Dire Docks. Duh, like that's what I put on my fucking iPod.
Yeah, I wish I had that iPod still now, or that off-brand one, because I just want to scroll through and see what the see all what the whole playlist is. It's like a ton of Eminem songs, video game music, and gangster rap, and then uh, yeah, it was an interesting time. But fast forwarding a little bit to at least some music that I still kind of enjoy a bit today, so that I at least feel a little bit less embarrassed showing my musical taste today. I got really into. Um, I think it was like a few years ago. It wasn't like super recent, but like I still like these guys today. So like I started getting into like I remember when I used to listen to Eminem, I was like, man, these lyrics, they're so clever and complex, and all of there's wordplay and stuff. And I was like, there's no way that anybody does this better. And then I started looking around and I'm like, oh, okay. So that was not that good. Because I
Man,
found people
literally,
who
who
were
does it
way
better?
better.
Every other fucking rapper.
Like um started listening to like MF Doom, some Lupe Fiasco, and then eventually at some point in there Aesop Rock joined the mix, and that became like one of my big kind of influences. I know another white guy, but I listen to a variety. Okay, I listen to other people. Um, uh, Eventually I found this channel that did Shout out to like Lyricology 101 is what it was called, but his channel got taken down because of copyright. But he came back as the lyricologist, but he's still like trying to get his subs back. So go sub to him. But I started finding more and more just like great lyricists and stuff just through his like breakdowns of songs, which is just really cool. Like he was really good at breaking down like everything that they were doing that you probably like wouldn't notice, or at least I didn't notice, like the complexity that they would put into the lyrics and stuff. So that channel opened my eyes to a few more artists, like Elzai is really good. I kind of listen to more of his stuff. Um, and then after that, I got stuck on Aesop Rock for like a long time, and that was like my big thing. I was just like MF Doom, Aesop Rock, Lupe Fiasco, and that was like all I listened to for like a year. And then eventually, I think just like the past like year or so, maybe like last year, I barely listened to rap at all of a sudden. And I started listening to more kind of, I don't know, YouTube would just recommend me a ton of different people. So I guess this does go like a couple years back. So I'd listen to like, uh, just, I guess it's kind of like internet core stuff where it's just like Tally Hall, Miracle Musical, um, fucking, Jack Stauber, um,
Yeah, Jack Starber's great.
yeah, and I still like a lot of that stuff. And then just like the past year, I got super obsessed with Will Wood, and I haven't stopped listening to Will Wood since. I get stuck on artists where I just like barely listen to anything but one artist for like a long time, and it feels weird.
Willwood what?
Uh, write some good
Willwood what?
songs. Tell you what.
He would? What if he won't? Sorry, that's a bad joke. Fuck.
I got a moment of silence for that.
Yeah, I guess some of the guys that I still do. Uh, Back to Marco. Still, I like Father John Misty. I got into like early verses. Uh, uh, I also started listening like around that time to a lot of like jazz, like Chivas, Charles Mingus, just like a bunch of that old weird music that like not a lot of people like, but enough people do like it that they form a culture where they're like, oh yeah, my taste is better than yours. I'm actually no, I know real music. Have you ever heard of Radiohead? Like the way
Right.
Tom York goes like, it's honestly the best kind of music. They had like a 7/8 time signature, and then a 3/4, and then a 1/2, and then a 7/8, and then a 9/16, and that makes really good music. And you're stupid if you don't like it. Sorry, I got it. I had a flashback to university there. Everything I hated it once it came. Oh, terrible.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm sure I'm missing like plenty of artists that I've listened to like a shit ton, but um, those are the main ones, and I'm gonna be kicking myself later either way because I'm sure I there's so many different artists that I listen to over the past lifetime, obviously. But we'll be here all day if we try and do that. So maybe we transition back to talking about specifically music that we've made. Um, I wanted to. Um, I was gonna make a video about this, but it didn't happen. So I think maybe I'll just talk about it in the podcast because I just thought it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think I talked about this in the podcast before, but stop me if I did. Um, is interesting because I wrote input entropy and stuff like years ago. So it's kind of like a time capsule of like my thoughts and feelings back then. But also, I remember while I was writing it, like a lot of it was. I mean, I meant all of it, but a lot of it was a little bit stream of consciousness to where it was like some of it was a little spiritual miracle individual, or it's just kind of like you're kind of saying stuff, but at the same time, it's like you're kind of just trying to make something that sounds cool in your mind, you know?
You see through the eyes of society.
Yeah. um, so I was interested because when I went back and listened to it or looked at some of the lyrics more recently, I got different meaning out of it than I did when I wrote it. It was just super interesting that you could like write something with certain things in mind and then come back to it later and like find themes, find connections that you didn't even necessarily intend. It's just like an interesting kind of that's just the cool thing about analysis, I think, you know, to for anything, for like music or for film or for literature, is like it doesn't necessarily matter if all of it's intentional. Just through the act of like analyzing something, you can kind of hallucinate more meaning and create more meaning and kind of like add to the work, you know, just by how you're looking at it.
Well, I think that it definitely points to like the kind of ephemeral nature of like contemporary like pop song writing, or even like, you know, whether it's rap or even punk, you know, whatever it is, like whatever the genre is. I think it's like if you keep your lyrics, you know, kind of on the more figurative side, it definitely opens itself up to interpretation better. I think it's interesting when you have like my girlfriend right now is a huge Taylor Swift fan, and so I've been kind of like, for lack of a better word, subjected to a lot of music that I have not really gotten into otherwise.
Sure.
And it's like fun because I have to like, I have to say that she's like an extremely talented songwriter.
Yeah.
And just like in looking in the lyrics of her songs, especially on albums like Folklore or Evermore, it's an interesting balance between that line of like figurative, literal, or like autobiographical and emotional, and like more narrative almost structure. And the fun thing that she does, and I think a lot of other songwriters do very well, is striking this balance between like telling a narrative and also allowing space for personal emotion, but also allowing room for the audience to kind of like resonate with a feeling or resonate with a thought and relate. Because at the end of the day, it's like, maybe you haven't lived that exact experience, but if it brings to mind something similar, it like unlocks this like empathetic connection to that piece of material. And I think in another sense, it's like some people just don't resonate with lyrics that way either. Like some people just hear a phrase and they're like, oh, that's a neat pairing of words, or like that right. Sounds good, you know, or that's a cool fucking line. It doesn't necessarily have to mean anything all the time either. Like there's plenty of like metal songs that just have like weird run-on sentences about guts and they sound oddly poetic. It's just like some wonderfully flowery way of saying that you wanted to disembowel someone.
Sure.
It's like, wow, I love that. That's great lyric writing, you know? So it's all subjective.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit.
But I like it. It's good.
Yeah, it's a good bullshit. It's the best kind of bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. That was just like a thought that I had when I was looking back through, especially with us like re-releasing the album in this different style, like actually recording those lyrics again with new audio. I don't know. It just felt very strange to me. that it felt like I was doing a cover. It didn't feel like I was making a song, you know? Like
Yeah,
if
that's an interesting
yeah.
feeling.
Um but anyways, I don't know, do you have any thing to talk about your music?
Yeah, I
Pretty
don't know.
vague.
I can probably. I
I ran
think
out of
I
topics.
want to keep making. I want to keep making it. It's weird. It's weird because it's like half of it is like I want to take it seriously and get better at it. Um, but another part of me is just like down to keep making shit and having fun. I don't know if
Sure.
I've mentioned it in the podcast yet, or I don't know how like familiar people on this channel will be, but I also have a YouTube channel called Dead Raven Records, and
How
been
dare you?
releasing. Oh no, you can't stop me, baby! I'm plugging my own solo
No other
project. This is
channels
just.
exist. This is the only one.
Oh no, yo, you're pulling a Paul McCartney on me, man. You're pulling. I want to. I'm George. I have my own. I have like 100 songs. I just want to put them out there. You're keeping me from doing it. The finger.
Yeah,
But yeah. Anyway,
go off. Go off.
that's my new project. I've been slacking. I put out like a few videos in a very short period of time. And then I haven't fucking done anything with that channel since. So, maybe that'll change. I got the Double Dare music video that you helped me with.
Yeah.
I got that to post. That might be up soon. Who knows? Stay tuned for that. Um, and I don't really have usually like throughout my whole like fucking quote unquote career of making music, I've always had like an album on the go. And right now I've like none of them ever really came right. Never none of them were ever really like finished and like I had a lot of shit. I had a lot of material, but I decided to like just sit on it, and I think a lot
Mm.
of it's unfortunately lost. Um, but like this is the first time in a while that I just haven't had like an album that I'm working on. I'm making a lot of singles, but I'm really focusing on just like making the hell, making making whatever the hell I want to make. Um, I can't speak very well, so I gotta make music how to express the things that are inside my head because I
Yeah.
can't talk so good, so I gotta put it all in the music, baby. It's all in my music. I think in like the other realization I had the other day is that I don't really want to be successful in terms of music. Like I don't want to be known. I don't
Hmm.
know if I want to play live or anything. I just want to be one of those guys like Daniel Johnston who like makes music at home uh, and like puts it out and maybe people listen to it, but that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Put it out. It's neat and it's fun.
Yeah, I think personally, like, I wouldn't be opposed to, like, building up to doing some kind of tour or, like, playing shows or whatever. But it would definitely be a big stretch for me, just anxiety wise, like figuring that out and like building up to being able to do that. Especially since like if I was doing vocals and stuff, I've found that when I get strong anxiety, like it's very difficult to have a full range of breathing, and that doesn't work well for singing or anything vocal wise. So I've only
Yeah,
really been able
definitely.
to perform music either to myself in my car or to a recording in my bedroom. So
Well, it's interesting. I think originally when we were starting to do input entropy or re-input entropy, we wanted to do it as like almost like a live concert, but we very quickly realized that was not like feasible,
yeah, yeah,
especially when we were both very far away from each other. Um, that would have been fucking cool, but instead we were just like, man, we'll just cover every song and just make our own album. And that was cool. But I do like the idea of doing like live online performances of songs. Shit, I think that would be
for
something
sure.
that we could maybe work on
We definitely have to figure out a way to do that. That's the hard thing is being able to be synced up with each other, being, online.
Yeah.
But maybe if I drive up there, or if you drive down here, one of us got to get a passport. Maybe we can just plan something out, and then just anything that we wanted to do that you can only do when you're in the same place, we just record all of that then.
Yeah, we'll need to do some planning ahead of time so that when I am up there or you're down here, it'll be like a
Other way around,
constant fucking period of work until we burn out.
Yeah.
But that
Works
sounds
for
like
me.
a good plan.
Well, yeah, I think this has been a pretty successful episode of the Quest for Quality Content podcast. Did we find the quality content? I don't know. Maybe next
We're
time.
fucking making it, baby. We're making it. Oh.
Yeah, you want to play us out? You gotta improvise a song about the Quest for Quality Content.
Oh, looking for some quality content. It's so hard to find. Been looking so long. I think I might go blind. Will I find that content? No, probably not. But I guess we can sit around and talk about some shit for a while.
What's this voice you're doing?
Yeah,
sounds familiar.
That's how you sing. This is fucking half Bob Dylan, half there is a spider.
Oh, yeah.
Spider deep in my soul. So
he's been there for years.
Just won't let go. He's got a mean bite. That show is fucking brilliant. Go watch It's Always Sunny. That's a good show.
Yeah, don't watch any of our videos. Just go watch that. Yeah. That's actually, I think subconsciously that's where I got the idea to do to hook up the piano this episode. Is they do that every once in a while on the Always Sunny podcast.
Yeah. Oh, do that? That's so funny.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to that podcast.
It's actually pretty good. I mean, if you like the show.
But I don't listen to podcasts anyway. Podcasts suck. It's a terrible medium and no one... I mean, thanks for watching, everybody. Tune in next time for more quality content.
Suckers.